Good afternoon and welcome to the November meeting of the Murfreesboro Historic Zoning Commission. We do have a quorum, so I will call this meeting to order and proceed now with the approval of the minutes. Each of you should have received in your packages copies of the minutes from the last meeting on October the 15th. And are there any necessary corrections or additions to the minutes?
Okay, Deborah.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes as submitted.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? They are approved as written. What is our first piece of business, Amelia?
First order of business is for the residents at 2255 Middle Tennessee Boulevard. Mr. Fletcher Holland is requesting initial review for the construction of a new two-story detached garage on property located at 2255 Middle Tennessee Boulevard. This property is zoned single-family residential, RS10, and it is within the East Main Street Historical District. At the October 15th, 2019 regular meeting of the Historical Zoning Commission, voted to approve the request to demolish the existing carport and shed and removal of a tree to make way for future construction on the property. The applicant is proposing to construct a new two-story detached garage to replace the existing carport and shed on the property. The proposed two-story detached garage design is to resemble the existing home on the property. The proposed the design is in the beginning stages, and the applicant is requesting initial review of the proposed front elevation design in order to receive input before proceeding with the total architectural design. An elevation concept drawing and concept plan for the fence additions are included in your agenda materials. The applicant, Mr. Holland, is available to answer any questions that the commission may have. And if you will look, we looked at this location the last time. This property is, of course, located one home away from the historic district, 3 houses from East Main Street. It is, as I said, located within the historical East Main Historical District, and the location of the home is approximately here, and it's 2255 Middle Tennessee Boulevard. And this is a concept drawing of what the applicant is wishing to build on the property. And then this is a layout of where the carport would be. Along with this, there's going to be some fence alterations from where there was existing fence that's going to need to be moved and altered, as well as some new fencing that will go in with it as well. That I believe that will be actually presented at the next meeting for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Could you, before we get into questions, also show the elevations of the surrounding houses,
Sure.
please?
Oh, well, let me see if I can resize this.
I want to remind the commission and the people out there watching that I would call that a story and a half, not a full two-story, because the second floor is in the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And so is the proposed design, it's in the roof, so it's really a story and a half. I think there's some other photographs of the houses on either side.
This is the existing home with the carport to the right side of this home. This is the MTSU Alumni House that is directly to the right of this property. And then the house to the left of the property, which is, as you can see, they've had several different additions added to the back of their home as well. And then back to the front elevation of the house that is supposed to be mimicked by this new addition. And then, of course, the carport that has been requested to be demolished. And here's the existing fence that currently stands.
If you all would like to come before the podium, please state your name and your address, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Fletcher Holland, and I'm representing with the Davises at 2255 Middle Tennessee Boulevard.
Jeff Davis, 2255 Middle Tennessee.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say before we ask questions?
I don't think so. Thanks for having us.
That's short and sweet, good. What questions does the commission have of the applicants?
I'm curious about the height of the new structure, the garage structure. Will that be within a good range of the existing house?
Yes, ma'am. It is truly a better comment of a story and a half. The second floor is within the roof line of this new addition, or new garage. Yes, ma'am. So it'll be comparable to the existing home.
Is it, to follow that up, is it any taller than the existing home?
It is not. It is not planned to. At this level and concept stage, I don't have the true dimension, but we'll compare that over the next week or so.
What other questions does the commission have?
The bay to the left that's sort of just blanked out, what is that going to?
Yes, sir. That, in this concept, we've actually shrunk, this is showing 36 feet. We've shrunk it to 32 feet, and that's just a stoop. That's an opening to a door that enters the space currently. So that's the grayed out space is, for lack of a better term, airspace to a door behind that sets back into the structure itself. So it's a covered stoop.
So that'd be open all the way to the back?
It will not. It goes back about 5.5 feet to a door that enters the garage, a man door
Okay.
that opens into the
Got
garage.
it.
When you enter that stoop, is the door to the right, or is it in front of you?
It's directly in front of you.
We would need to see in the next drawing the elevation of the door in that elevation there.
Absolutely.
What other questions does the commission have?
Just what's behind these? Like, this is, we see two windows in the elevation on the main floor.
There's doors.
And then we see, I guess this is a garage door.
That's the recess for the entry door, the man door, and those are garage doors, I assume.
That's correct.
And they have glass in the upper part of it.
That's the intent. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Are they solid doors or sections that go up?
In this case, these are solid doors. We anticipate section doors that will come up,
Yeah.
but more to be developed.
And
Well, they're good-looking garage doors, aren't they?
they are.
I know there's an effort to mimic the house. Is the roof pitch about the same
It
pitch?
is. It's a 14/12, which is common to the house.
Okay, it looks similar. I just wanted to see.
What other comments or questions? I have a few, if y'all don't mind. What is the material anticipated then for the roof? Is it the asphalt shingles to match the house?
Yes, sir.
And what is the gable end with the half timbering there? Is it stucco or is it the faux stucco?
It is not. I'm anticipating James Hardy type, cement fiberboard,
Yeah.
stick frame material. Yes.
They have that stucco finish on one of them as well. I have to say, I think the design looks great. I'm a little concerned, though, with the Chinese Chippendale railing on the porch to the left of what in this elevation. Tudor and Chinese Chippendale, normally you don't see together.
Okay.
I just pass that on to you. It's very unusual to see Chinese Chippendale on a Tudor house.
Sure.
I think the lights look good. I think the shed dormer looks great. I'm very pleased with what we're seeing.
Thank you.
What's the anticipated material on those garage doors?
What's the material to be used? We're still developing that, but either a wood material, composite material, or something of that higher quality nature for that door.
Great.
And we assume the brick will be similar?
It'll be,
As close as
That's
you
right.
can get.
it'll be very, we've got about 9 or 12 samples, so
Good.
I wish you luck on that.
Yeah.
we got a few. So,
How is the, although we're not really, we don't typically review the second floor, is it one load, it will be a habitable space?
it's inhabitable, it's a guest home, so anticipating 2 bedrooms, a breakout space, and a bathroom.
And I'm assuming, on the site drawing that was provided, the outline of the house was just partial in the submission for the final, we'll need to see a full site plan showing the entire house, where the fences are now and where you want to move them to.
Right.
And any modifications to the driveway, the pad that you back out into, how you intend to turn around, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Just so we understand the full scope of the improvements to the site itself. And then, and to be very frank and fair, the Chinese Chippendale, we may not be able to see it from the right-of-way, which is like anybody walking on the sidewalk. If we can see it, we have a right to review it. If we can't see it, and this may be far enough back, we couldn't review that.
Okay.
Just so you know, to be fair, and everybody out there listening. But we would want to see any of the elevations that we can see from the right-of-way. If there's I don't think there's an alley back there, is there? So we couldn't take that position, that if we could see it from the alley, then yes, we could review it. Any other questions?
No, just a comment, has nothing to do with the Historic Commission, but there is it the Zoning Commission that has the footprint on the property, controls the footprint on the property?
The Planning Commission or whomever reviews these before we receive them to tell us, so that we know that they're not overbuilding the lot. Is that what you're getting
Yeah.
to? Yeah. That's my understanding, that it's, before it comes to us, it's been approved by the city, that it does not exceed the buildable area.
Well, that, at the current time, we have not had a submission to Planning Commission to look at that, but it's already a structure in the same location, and so they would have a vested right to put the accessory structure back in that location.
Well, I just hate to see you go, around third base and all of a sudden somebody say, well, I'm sorry, it's too big for the
Too big.
property.
You'll have to get smaller sports cars to drive around town.
I think, isn't the, aren't the rules going to be changed?
There is a plan before city, or going before Planning Commission to be approved for the CCO, the City Core Overlay District. And the City Overlay District that is being presented would be allowed to increase, depending on what zone you're in. I believe in the RS10 right now, you can have 30% coverage on your property, and it will go to 50%.
50%?
Do you have any idea when that might be?
I think it goes,
Going to planning commission
Eh.
this week, or,
it will be going to Planning Commission this week to be set for a public hearing.
yeah, it'll probably be set for a public hearing at planning commission, first week in December would be my guess. And assuming a recommendation, then it would go to council for 2 readings, but
2 readings.
whether it would make it by the December 5 meeting to council, I don't know. But it's in the works, and I guess staff expects it to be approved, but we don't have a vote. So, yeah, I think it's being received well, but still it hasn't been approved yet.
So what I'm getting at, you may want to follow this, and, if you're over the current 30, you may want to wait a month or so.
We are, we're watching.
Or submit a variance that probably would go through. No guarantee.
No guarantee.
The tree is gonna stay too, so
Good.
it's getting a bit of a haircut, but
The tree is going to be saved. Oh, bless you. Good. It's beautiful. Beautiful tree.
we were worried about it being so top-heavy, so close to the house.
Don't blame you.
So we've pruned it, and we've still got a couple of more limbs that we're gonna take out, so, it'll die a natural death, not in my hand.
Hopefully no time soon. What else does the commission have, or questions of the applicants?
I don't really have anything else, but I'm glad you pointed that out,
Yeah.
the Chippendale.
Oh,
There are lots of other two-door type railings that you might want to look into.
and I love Chinese Chippendale, it just, you never see it with Tudor. If there's no further discussions, the chair would welcome a motion.
I would like to motion that we accept the proposal with the exception of maybe a little work on the Chinese Chippendale area. Can I say, can I do it that way? Okay.
Do we have a second?
A second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor then of the motion of the initial design, it's not truly a submission, but it's just a concept drawing, just to be clear, that you will come back to us and submit formally.
Yes, sir.
If there's no further discussion, then all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you so much. Do know that when you do submit formally, we need to have samples of brick, shingle, elevations of doors, lighting, all the various samples that we can see what you're trying to accomplish. Thank you. Amelia, is there something else you'd like to go over?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Earlier in October, the City Council voted on a resolution to increase some fees, and included in this for the first time was a fee for the Historical Zoning Commission meetings. I did give you all a copy of that prior to the meeting, and the submission for the Historical Commission application now will be $150, and that's going to be per application that they submit. So some of the people that have been coming numerous times to get your input along the way would have to pay each individual time that they come before you.
Well,
So as an example, today, they would have to pay, if it were approved today, they would have to pay the $150. Then when they come back for the formal one, it would be another $150?
Yes, sir.
What was it before?
There was no fee
it's
before.
zero.
I was thinking that, but I just want to make sure I
It takes
clarified
a
it for
lot
those
of-
watching.
Yeah, it takes a lot of staff time and
Yeah.
preparations and getting everything together. And so the department decided that it was time to start charging.
And we get what percent of that?
Well, you'll have to take that up with the planning director.
Their thanks, that's what you get. You might go over the second line item there, because that would be applied to you all.
Well, correct. And if an application is submitted, that would be approved by planning staff, something that would be considered very minor that we wouldn't have to bring to y'all, possibly something landscaping or just something that's minor.
Like if you have a asphalt shingle roof and you need to replace the asphalt shingles because they're deteriorating, you can administratively approve that.
Yes, sir.
That's just as an example of those watching.
Yes, sir.
So that would be $75.
That would be $75, yes, sir.
So it says this resolution is effective immediately as of October the 26th. So does that mean the Davises are going to be billed for what they're doing right now?
Well, they paid the fee for this time. I am going to speak with the director since they did actually put in, they put in after this. I erroneously made a mistake and told them it was a one-time fee, and I was corrected today.
Anything else you'd like to bring up?
That would be all that staff has.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's anything else from the commission?
No, the only thing that and of course this is a done deal already, that we have been encouraging the families that live in our historic zone to come before us like the Davises did today and to get, previous input from us. And so every time they do that now, it's another $150. Sorry to see that. I'd hate to see that discouraged. So basically, we're going to try and come through probably just one time.
And one of the reasons we encourage that is so they don't spend a lot of money on architectural fees designing it to be then shot down. So
Sure.
if there's any way the council could amend this to, I think it would be helpful to get
Yeah,
our input to these people who are trying to do these projects.
Okay. I'll discuss this with the planning director
That'd be
and
great.
see what steps could be made to make
Okay.
that.
Appreciate it.
Because I do know that you all do encourage that they come and get input along the way.
It just helps in the long run, to be honest. No surprises. Great. If there's no further business, the chair would welcome a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Do we have a second?
Second.
No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all.